Have you ever looked at someone who completely commands a room, someone who just seems totally at ease in their own skin, and thought to yourself, how did they get that? Did they just win the genetic lottery? Were they born with some magical confidence gene that somehow skipped the rest of us? It's easy to look at a charismatic speaker, a bold entrepreneur, or even just that one friend who can talk to absolutely anybody, and assume they have something you don't. You assume they possess this mysterious, innate quality that allows them to navigate life without fear, without self-doubt, and without that nagging voice in the back of their head telling them they aren't good enough. But what if I told you that you have confidence completely backward? What if the way we think about self-esteem, courage, and belief in ourselves is fundamentally flawed? Welcome to today's episode. Today, we are diving deep into a topic that affects every single one of us, every single day of our lives. We are talking about how to build self-confidence. And I don't mean the fake it till you make it, chest-puffed-out, arrogant kind of confidence. I'm talking about real, quiet, unshakable self-trust. The kind of confidence that doesn't shatter the moment somebody criticizes you or things don't go your way. This matters because a lack of confidence is the single biggest thief of human potential. It steals our dreams. It keeps us in relationships we should leave. It stops us from applying for that job, and it convinces us to play small. But by the end of this episode, I want to completely reframe how you approach your own self-worth. You don't need to be born with it. You just need to know how to build it. Let's start by dismantling the biggest myth of all, the idea that confidence is a feeling you need to have before you can take action. Think about it. How many times have you said to yourself, I'll start that business when I feel a bit more confident? Or, I'll ask that person out when I feel more confident? Or, I'll speak up in the meeting when I finally feel completely sure of my ideas? We treat confidence like it's a prerequisite, like it's a ticket you have to buy before you're allowed to get on the ride. But here's the interesting part. Confidence doesn't produce action. Action produces confidence. Waiting to feel confident before you do something hard is like waiting to be in shape before you go to the gym. It defies the laws of cause and effect. The people you look up to, the ones who seem so fearless, they didn't wait for the fear to go away. They acted in spite of it. They took the step while their hands were shaking, while their voice was cracking, and while their brain was screaming at them to run away and hide. Confidence is not the absence of fear. Confidence is the belief that you can handle the outcome, whatever it is. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're standing on the edge of a high diving board for the first time. You're looking down at the water, and your heart is pounding. You are absolutely terrified. Now, how do you become confident at jumping off that board? Do you stand there for 3 hours, reading a book about gravity? Do you recite affirmations in the mirror? Do you wait until the fear miraculously evaporates? No. You jump. You jump while you are terrified. You hit the water, you swim to the surface, you gasp for air, and you realize something incredibly profound. You survived. You didn't die. The water caught you. And the next time you climb up that ladder, you are just a little bit less afraid. By the 10th time, you're doing flips. That process, action, survival, realization, is the only way genuine confidence is built. It is built on a foundation of undeniable evidence. Your brain is a skeptical organ. You can't just tell your brain, I am a confident, capable person. Your brain will look at you and say, prove it. You have to give your brain evidence that you are competent, that you are resilient, and that you can handle difficult things. You might be wondering, what happens if I take the leap and I completely fail? What if I jump off the diving board and do a massive belly flop in front of everyone? Doesn't failure destroy confidence? And this is where things get really interesting. We have this idea that highly confident people only ever experience success. But the truth is actually the exact opposite. Highly confident people have failed more times than you have even tried. If you avoid failure, you might protect your ego in the short term, but you are setting yourself up for an incredibly fragile existence. You develop what I call conditional confidence. Conditional confidence says, I am confident as long as everyone likes me. I am confident as long as I win. I am confident as long as things go exactly according to my plan. But life doesn't work that way, does it? Life is chaotic, unpredictable, and often deeply unfair. If your confidence is tied to always winning, you will live your entire life walking on eggshells. Unconditional confidence, on the other hand, comes from surviving the belly flop. You cannot hate yourself into becoming a confident person. It does not work. If you want to build genuine confidence, you have to change the way you speak to yourself, especially in moments of failure. When you mess up, and you will mess up frequently, you have to learn to talk to yourself the way you would talk to a friend you deeply respect. If your best friend came to you and said, "I completely bombed that presentation at work. I feel like an idiot," what would you say? You wouldn't say, "Yeah, you are an idiot. You're terrible at your job." You would say, "Hey, take a breath. It was one bad presentation. You are incredibly smart. You just had an off day. What can we learn from this for next time?" You have to extend that same grace, that same fierce compassion, to yourself. Self-compassion is not letting yourself off the hook. It's not lowering your standards. It's simply acknowledging that you are a flawed human being who is currently learning. Let me bring up another layer to this, which I think is absolutely vital in the modern world. We have to talk about comparison. We live in an era where we have 24/7 access to the highlight reels of 8 billion other people. You open your phone, and within 3 seconds, you are looking at someone who is wealthier than you, someone who is in better shape than you, and someone who seems infinitely happier than you. If you base your confidence on where you rank compared to the rest of the world, you will always, always lose. There will always be someone smarter. There will always be someone faster. Confidence cannot be a competition. It has to be an internal measurement. The only question you ever need to ask yourself is, am I a little bit better, a little bit wiser, or a little bit braver than I was yesterday? That's it. That is the only metric that matters. When you catch yourself spiraling into comparison, you have to actively pull your focus back into your own lane. Celebrate other people's success? Absolutely. But recognize that their success has absolutely nothing to do with your worth. Your journey is completely your own. As we start to pull all these threads together, I want to leave you with a concept that radically changed the way I view my own life. It's the idea of embracing your own awkwardness, your own weirdness, and your own specific, unique flaws. So many of us lack confidence because we are desperately trying to perform a version of ourselves that we think the world wants to see. We curate our personalities. We laugh at jokes we don't find funny. We nod along to opinions we disagree with. We sand down our rough edges so that we can fit neatly into a societal box. But it takes a massive amount of psychological energy to wear a mask all day. It is exhausting. And deep down, even if people validate the mask, you still feel empty because you know they aren't validating you. They are validating a character you are playing. True confidence is the radical acceptance of exactly who you are, right now, in this moment. It is the willingness to look at the world and say, "This is me. I am a work in progress. I have flaws. I have weird hobbies. I have insecurities. And I am entirely comfortable with that." When you stop trying to hide the parts of yourself you think are unacceptable, a massive weight lifts off your shoulders. You realize that you don't need everyone to like you. You don't even need most people to like you. You just need to be authentic enough to find the people who resonate with the real you. So, let's summarize what we've talked about today. First, stop waiting for the feeling of confidence to arrive. Action is the engine, and confidence is just the exhaust. You have to jump while your knees are knocking. Second, reframe failure. Stop viewing it as proof that you are incompetent, and start viewing it as the necessary tax you pay to become resilient. Survive the belly flop. Third, guard your self-trust with your life. Make tiny promises to yourself and keep them religiously. Build that mountain of evidence that proves you are a person of your word. Fourth, evict the toxic roommate in your head. Treat yourself with the fierce compassion you would offer to someone you love. And finally, take off the mask. Own your weirdness. Own your journey. Stop measuring your Chapter 2 against someone else's Chapter 20. Building self-confidence is not a destination you arrive at one day. It is not a switch you flip. It is a daily practice. It is a muscle that you have to tear down and rebuild over and over and over again. But I promise you, the work is worth it. Because when you finally learn to trust yourself, the whole world opens up. You stop asking for permission to live the life you want, and you start giving notice that you are going to live it anyway. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. Take one small step. Keep one small promise to yourself today. and start building that foundation. Until next time, take care of yourselves and keep taking the leap.